Breaking news at noon out of Wheat Ridge. Police say a student is in custody following a bomb threat made to Wheat Ridge High School. No other schools are affected, but out of abundance of caution, the high school is now dismissing classes early. We do have a crew on the scene waiting to find out more information. We're also monitoring a breaking situation in Commerce City. South Adams fire crews are on scene of a fire putting out hot spots. Now, this is a live look from 64th Avenue near Kearney. That's between I-270 and the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. Fire officials say multiple structures and cars were impacted. As you can see, most of the fire has been put out. We are still seeing investigators there on scene. South Adams posted this picture on X social media of big flames and lots of damage. Crews responded to the fire a little after 9:30 this morning. Officials say medics took one person to the hospital, but we're waiting to get more details. Fire crews are working to find out how this fire started as well. Now to a traffic alert for you. I-270 in Vasquez is still shut down after crews say a semi rolled over onto the median. Now this is video from this morning. You can see that crane trying to pull the FedEx semi out, and that we know that FedEx also has heavy front end damage. CDOT has the exit ramp closed and parts of Vasquez are also shut down. We're working to find out more information and if there's any injuries and when that area will reopen. Now let's talk about that crazy cold that's on the way. We're just hours away from that freezing dip that will last for days, but snow will come first. But what about the timing of it all? So let's send things over to Keely Chalmers with our 9 News weather impact. Hey, Keely.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's tough to think that in just a few hours, things are going to be changing dramatically. We're close to 50 degrees right now in the 9 News backyard. But again, we have snow arriving, and then we have the big drop in temperatures. We're talking a plummet of temperatures as we go from temperatures close to 50 degrees today down to a high of 15. We're talking about single digits highs by the end of the weekend. 48 degrees at DIA right now. Those winds certainly picking up. We've definitely noticed it in the last 20 minutes out of the northeast, 28 miles per hour. So those winds have shifted, and we are going to start seeing those temperatures drop. Here's a look at your hour by hour forecast as we head into the afternoon. So we're going to start to see the snow fall here in the metro area at 4 o'clock. This is important because the temperature still well above freezing. The pavement is going to be warm. That snow falls, moisture on the pavement, it is going to melt. The problem is between 5 and 6, the surface level, the atmosphere at the surface is going to freeze. That means that moisture on the roadway is going to freeze as well. That's called a flash freeze. That makes for some very dangerous, very treacherous driving conditions. So again, between about 5 and 6 o'clock, we're going to see some ice, some flash freezing on the roadways, and that is certainly going to impact traffic. We'll talk more about that, break down the timeline of the snow, how cold we're going to get as this Arctic blast moves through this weekend. And we're talking about dangerous wind chills, minus 30 in some areas at some times during the weekend. We'll talk more about that, when you could expect those bitterly cold temperatures coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
Thank you so much. Now, we know about leaving water drip to protect your pipes when you leave the house, but you should also open kitchen and bathroom cabinet doors to let warm air circulate. Now, another tip, disconnecting hoses outside and insulating outside faucets will help. Foam faucet covers are inexpensive and easy to install. Even if you do everything you can to prevent your pipes from freezing or your furnace from dying, it could still happen. So make sure you know where the main water line is so you can turn it off quickly in the event of any leaks. And if you do need repairs, just stay calm.
The most important thing is don't be rushed. I know you're in a time-sensitive situation. You might have had a pipe burst or your furnace may not be working. The bad companies, the ones that are looking to really gouge you, they take that as an opportunity to sell you on something that costs way more than it should.
Now, you may not have time to get multiple quotes, but you should still ask how much a service call will cost. Research the company's good and bad reviews, check their BBB complaints, and then trust your gut, of course. A company charging you hundreds of dollars just to show up at your house or pressuring you to make a decision quickly, those are big red flags. Washington, D.C. is expected to be about 20 degrees on Monday, along with strong winds, so the presidential inauguration will now be moved inside the Capitol Rotunda. It hasn't been held indoors since Ronald Reagan's second inauguration. It does appear the parade will still happen. Now, we will be streaming the inauguration live on our website with extended coverage on 9news.com, our 9 News app, and 9 News Plus as well. Now, the Martin Luther King Jr. parade on Monday has been delayed another 30 minutes because of the freezing temperatures, so now it will start at 10:30. Organizers say they have shortened the program times to limit exposure time outside. There will also be warming shelters along the parade route, and we'll continue our weather coverage later here at noon. The U.S. Supreme Court did not stop the clock that continues to tick down for the app TikTok. That means the app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, must still sell the company to a non-Chinese owner by Sunday to stay online. But as NBC Chris Pallone reports, not all hope is lost.
Tough news for the 170 million people in the U.S. who use it, but it might not be the final chapter in this saga. The High Court ruled this morning that a federal law President Biden signed last spring is constitutional. It required TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell the app to American owners or shut down by January 19th. Congress enacted the law citing national security concerns. ByteDance is a Chinese company, and TikTok could be required to share its data with the Chinese government. Last Friday, the High Court heard 2 hours of oral arguments about the law. President-elect Trump originally supported a TikTok ban, but recently changed positions and urged the justices to delay the ban's effective date to give his administration an opportunity to pursue a negotiated resolution when he takes office. Democratic lawmakers have also urged Congress and President Biden to extend the deadline. A group of senators announced a last-ditch effort to save TikTok, introducing a bill that would extend the deadline for a sale by 270 days. But this apparently isn't the final word. Two Biden administration officials tell NBC News the federal government will not levy the fines called for in the law for President Biden's final 36 hours in office, essentially passing the issue on to the incoming Trump administration. TikTok has about 7,000 employees in the U.S.
It has been reported this week that if the law was upheld, TikTok would shut down entirely in the U.S. on Sunday. But the law does not require it to do that. The app itself would just have to be pulled from all the various app stores. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Now, the union representing King Soopers workers has rejected a contract deal between them and the parent company of King Soopers, Kroger. The parent company of King Soopers and the union had been in negotiations for roughly 3 months. UFCW Local 7 was pushing for higher pays and more staffing. King Soopers had sent what they called a final offer on a 4-year contract. That offer came in late last night. The union says they are now in the process of scheduling strike votes over the company's multiple unfair labor practices. Israel's security cabinet has recommended approval of the ceasefire deal that will stop the fighting in Gaza Sunday. However, the full cabinet must still sign off on it. Members are already gathered meeting to consider the deal. The prime minister put out a statement saying he expects the first hostages to be released on Sunday, but it's not clear who that will be yet. Israeli media has been reporting that the first hostages will be 3 women. Meanwhile, there will be no Israeli drones or fire jets flying over Gaza.